Dear students, welcome you all to the course that is Fabric Manufacturing Technology. In the last sessions we have discussed about different topics in shuttleless weaving technology. So particularly today's session we are going to see that what are the picking phases in the projectile weaving technology. So before going to the particular things, we will see that what are the different contents we have already seen. So limitations of ordinary looms and the features of shuttleless looms we have discussed, and classification of shuttleless looms. From the classification we have started that what is exactly the projectile weaving technology, and in the projectile weaving we have seen that what are the different parts or passage of material through the projectile weaving technology, and particular to the projectile picking mechanism we have discussed about the torsion bar picking mechanism. Okay, so this session particularly we are going to see that what are the different picking phases are there in the projectile weaving, and torsion bar grout details, and the receiving unit and the selvage units. Okay, so what are the different components or different elements are present in the projectile weaving we will see. Okay, then we will go for the rapier weaving. So particularly this session we will see that what is exactly complete projectile picking. So the picker accelerates the projectile over a distance of about 65 mm in 0.007 seconds. Nothing but this is the velocity. We will see that the acceleration and velocity, what is the speed and how we can calculate it. Okay, so if we have a projectile weaving machine which is running at a speed of 400 picks per 1 minute, so how we can calculate the time for one pick? You can calculate. So 60 divided by, if the speed of the projectile weaving is 400, 60 divided by 400. 60 divided by 400 is the complete for one pick. What is the time available? Nothing but the projectile receiving side to the projectile picking side, projectile feeding, so projectile picking, projectile transferring from one side to the other side, checking, again the projectile will come back to its original position. Complete one cycle, what is the time available for the one picking, we can calculate by this. Okay, the energy utilization of the projectile system is not much more efficient than that of the shuttle projection, and all other weaving machines are less efficient. Okay, and the residual energy of the picking system, some 62% of the whole is absorbed in the hydraulic buffer, the body and the plunger. So the picker and the rest of the lever systems are then brought to rest over the next 40 mm of the picker movement by the oil brake. Okay, this is how the picking of this mechanism, and the speed of the projectile as it leaves at picker is normally about 24.4 meters per second, 24.4 meters per 1 second. Okay, that is the speed. And if you consider the velocity and acceleration, so acceleration is far from uniform and reaches a peak velocity of 6630 meters per square second when the projectile has traveled nearly 15 mm. The peak deceleration has a value of 9920 meters per square second and occurs about 12.5 mm before the picker comes to the rest position. Okay, so you can observe that the picking velocity in terms of in projectile weaving technology, as you have seen that you can see here in the graph. So in the x-axis there is a time in seconds, and in y-axis the projectile velocity in meters per second it is given. So you can observe that in 0 time per second, while the projectile is giving the acceleration, that acceleration you can see that the sudden acceleration from 0 to 24, approximately 24 meters per second, approximately 24 meters per second, sudden acceleration. So within the very limited time, the sudden acceleration has been done. You can see that the time is given 0 to 0.18 seconds. Okay, so within the 0.18 seconds, you can observe that what is the acceleration is. So sudden acceleration from the 0 to 24 is happening, and it is goes on continuing because the weft is inserting, and slowly, like up to the edge of the shed, or the from one side to the other side, when it is reaching to the other side, so there is a small change in the acceleration or projectile velocity. So this projectile velocity is going to small drop down, then there is a deceleration which is going to be occurred, so at the time of receiving and checking side. So again, in the receiving and checking side, we have a sudden deceleration. Okay, so the deceleration time, which is, you can observe that 0.02 seconds is the time to decelerate the projectile. Okay, decelerate nothing but it is stopping at the receiving side. Okay, and you can see that the top image, which is showing that picker shoe acceleration and the picker shoe velocity. So picker shoe acceleration is going to be done, so sudden increasing and slowly it is reducing and coming into the minus side, nothing but it is coming into the back side. So it is coming into original position, so that the next projectile will come and occupy on the picking shoe. And the velocity, you can see that the velocity, so slowly it is increasing and it is decreasing. So up to the 100 mm of this length, it is going to be accelerated the particular velocity. Okay, so this is the velocity and acceleration curve. Okay, so you can observe that the acceleration of this projectile within the specified time, that is 0.007 seconds of time, within that time the acceleration is happening and the deceleration is happening into the 0.02 seconds of time. Okay, so this is about the acceleration and the deceleration. And even in the projectile, this compared to this case to the shuttle looms, so shuttle velocity also the same path will be there. The graphical representation of this acceleration and velocity for shuttle looms also follow the same path, but the acceleration, that velocity, whatever we have in here, is somehow very lesser compared to the projectile in case of shuttle looms. Okay, so less velocity is there for the shuttle, but the curve which is showing is somehow it is similar. Okay, then we will see from here what is exactly the weft insertion phases are. What are the weft insertion phases? From the given image, you can observe that there are 7 different phases of weft insertion. 7 different phases of weft insertion. You can observe that. So there are different parts that are like, there is a weft package, there is a accumulator or weft reservoir, okay, which is going to preserve the weft content, that is 2 to 3 peak length of weft yarn, which is going to be available or preserved in the accumulator. So after the accumulator, we have a tensioners, and we have particularly there is a weft brake, and there are tensioners, and there is a projectile feeder. So the number 2 is the projectile feeder. So this projectile feeder is going to feed the weft yarn to the projectile. Now the projectile picking arm, projectile shoe, and the particularly ribbed guides, and there are scissors, and there are tucked in selvages are present here. Now what is the picking insertion or weft insertion phases are? How these elements are going to be activated and deactivated. Okay, so now this case we are seeing that, so all these elements, how it is going to work when the shuttle is when the projectile is going to be transferred from one side to the other side. How the projectile is going to be transferred? By using the picking arm. When the picking arm is going to be given the motion. Okay, so different phases how the pick or weft yarn is inserted by using the projectile grippers or gripper projectile in the projectile weaving technology. So we'll see here. So you can observe that the first image which is showing there is a weft package and there is a accumulator. Okay, so there are stopper, there is a weft thread stopper or brake, and after the brake we have a tensioner, and there is a projectile feeder, and there is a picking arm and the picking shoe, and the projectiles are going to be there. On the top side you can observe that the top projectiles are the particularly which are coming from the receiving side to the picking side. So assume that the projectiles are coming from the receiving side to the picking side. Okay, and once it is reached, that is one projectile 1, it is reached to the picking position, the projectile feeder is going to feed the weft yarn. Now first case you can observe that the different elements, so the scissors and the grippers at the both the sides of the selvage, and there is a tucked in selvage, and 8 is number 8 is called as the brake or the checking device or the receiving side of the projectile weaving machine. So you can observe that the second image. Now what is happening? The 4 number, that is brake, is released. Tensioners are still in the weft yarn is under tension only. Now projectile feeder is feeded the weft yarn. Already feeded the weft yarn. Now the second position, what is happening? The projectile feeder was opened. After feeding, the projectile opener is opened with the help of projectile feeder opener. There is a projectile feeder opener. So to open the projectile feeder, we have a projectile feeder opener. So what is the function of projectile feeder opener? It will open the projectile feeder after the feeding of the weft yarn into the projectile. Okay. Now what is happening in the second image is projectile feeder is fed the weft yarn with the help of projectile feeder opener. Projectile feeder is opened. Okay, with the help of projectile feeder opener, projectile feeder is opened. Now the weft yarn is holded by the projectile. So in the third condition, what is happening is, now the projectile is going to be transferred with the help of torsion bar picking mechanism. The picking arm and picking shoe is come forward to beat the projectile, so that the transfer of projectile will be occurred in the third position. After the transfer of projectile, after the pick insertion, now you can observe that the tensioners are come down and the brake is applied on the weft thread. Now the weft yarn, release of the weft yarn from the package is restricted after the brake application. So after that, the projectile feeder, still it is in the open position. Now in the fourth diagram you can observe that the projectile feeder is come to the near position of the selvage, The projectile feeder is come to the near to the selvage of the fabric to hold the weft thread. Okay, so when it is coming into the near to the selvage, that time the tensioner will be going to release or the tension, and the thread will be come back to the back position. So the projectile gripper is going to, the projectile feeder is going to come to the nearer, and it is going to hold at the next stage. You can observe that the projectile feeder is hold at the weft yarn. Okay, you can observe in the second image, that is the fifth step. You can observe that the projectile feeder is come to the selvage place and it was hold at the weft yarn. Now after holding, along with that, the both the sides of the fabric selvage we have a grippers or we have a holders which holds the weft yarn firmly after insertion. Now after that, after holding, what will happen, these holders are still in the hold position and the scissors are going to activate it to break the weft thread, nothing but to break the, to disconnect the weft thread to the feeders. So now in between the feeders and the one of the selvage of the grippers, in between that there is a scissor, it will cut the weft thread so that it will be released. Now after cutting, what will happen, the tensioners are going to be maintain the tension, release the maintain the tension, and along with that the projectile feeder is going to come back, projectile feeder is going back. Okay, so in the 7th step, projectile feeder is going back. So after that, what will happen, when it is going back, one of the projectile from the conveyor belt is going to transfer into the picking position with the help of projectile lifter and projectile opener. Okay, so along with that, when it is transferring, the beat up mechanism is going to be activated and the beat up will be done. So after beat up done, now in the last diagram, that is 7th step, the tucked in selvages, the tucked in elements are going to tuck the fringe of the weft thread into the next shed opening. When the next shed is opened, at the time, these whatever the tucked in elements are there, these tucked in pins are going to tuck into the next shed open. After the next shed open, so the fold, it will be folded, both the sides of the fringe is going to be folded into the next shed. Okay, so these are the different phases of weft insertion in case of projectile weaving. So again, you can observe that there are 7 different phases. So what are the different types of elements which are there in the picking phase, and how these elements are going to be activated and deactivated, we have discussed in this particular thing. Okay, so this is how the picking phase is going to be done. Now what is exactly the gripper projectile is, we will see one individual parts, what are the different parts and what are the functions of different parts are. Okay, so now you can see here the projectiles grip reliable a wide variety of threads, tabs or tapes also, nothing but flat yarns also can be possible in case of projectile weaving, or monofilament yarns also possible in this particular case. Now reflecting the varying requirements of the different weft yarns, projectile grippers with various clamping forces and the surface areas are available. So it depends upon the type of yarn we are using, type of fiber you are using, form of yarn type, that is nothing but whether it is monofilament or tape yarn or multifilament. So different types of yarns we are using. So we have different types of gripper surfaces and the clamping forces are available into the projectiles. So one outstanding feature of the projectile technology is that the weft is inserted without central transfer, that is without additional acceleration and braking mechanism, without any acceleration or any additional acceleration or braking mechanism. Okay, this is the thing. Now you can see here there are different types of projectiles and different models of projectiles I have given. You can see that the D1 style, D2 style, D2 and D12, K3, that is composite style. Okay, so you can see that the dimensions of the projectiles also. You can observe that the length, width and height of the projectiles are given. Length, width and height of the projectiles are given. So 89 mm, 14.3 mm and 6.35 mm are the dimensions of D1 type and D12 type, D2 type. So there is a change of this gripping force and there is a change of the clamping force, and the surface of the clamping or grippers are different for different projectiles. Okay, so depends upon that, and along with that the material used for the projectile preparation or projectile is different. Like composite, nothing but there is maybe like a composite type of material is used, and steel they have used specifically. So depends upon the type of material used for the projectile is different for the models. Okay, so that what will happen, the composition of the metal is changed. So when it is changed the composition, automatically the weight of the projectile also going to be varied. So depends upon the weight. So again the force or travel or the counts of ions run for particular projectile is going to vary. So that is the thing. Now you can see that the projectile grippers, what are the different types of projectiles, D1, D12, D2 that are, and what are the clamping forces are available in particular case are I have given here. You can see that the 600 grams clamping force we are discussing. Clamping force is 600 gram force is the clamping force. So that much of force is applied in between the grippers to hold the weft yarn. Okay. So you can see that what is exactly the area of the clamping and which is going to be there for particularly D1 type or D12 type or D2 type. So which is having this force requirement. So depends upon the force availability. So we are going to select the projectile for particular type of yarn. We are going to select the particular type of projectile for particular type of yarn. Okay. So this is how the projectile grippers applications are. Okay. Now you can see here projectile jaws. What are the different types of projectile jaws are there? Now projectile grippers we are talking, right? These gripper jaws are there, right? So these gripper jaws are having different surfaces. You can observe that the number one is a smooth surface. So in between the two grippers, the surfaces are smooth. It is having smooth surface. Okay, and you can observe that the second one with having a groove. So which is having a groove to hold the weft yarn firmly. And you can see that the crisscross knurls are there in case of third one. In case of third, there are crisscross knurls. Knurls nothing but there are grid lines which are there. So the surface of this particular jaw is given with the knurls, so that the gripping force or clamping force are going to be changed. And in case of fourth, you can observe that there is a frictional coating or there is a friction coating that is generally like the rubber coating or the material which is used like a rubber or synthetic materials. So the lateral guidance is going to be given with the help of this friction coating with lateral guidance. So lateral guidance nothing but it is having like a shape and there is a friction coating which is going to hold the weft yarn firmly in between these lateral guidance and the friction coating elements. So these are the different types of projectile jaws we are using in case of projectile grippers. So surface of the projectile jaws, you can observe that variation in that. So depends upon the type of yarn and the count of yarn, we are going to select the specific gripper type or specific projectile type. Okay. Now we will discuss about ribbed tunnel guides. So the ribbed type of tunnels we are using in case of projectile weaving to transfer or to guide the projectile in the projectile weaving technology. Okay. So now the gripper projectile has a low weight and could be easily deflected from its path. Nothing but we are transferring the projectile with a high acceleration and the velocity. So what will happen is because of the less weight, that is approximately 50 grams to 90 grams of projectile weight is there. So there may be chances of the deflection of these projectile is going to be occur while it is transferring from one side of the shed to the other side of the shed. So that is why it is very important to guide the projectile throughout the width of the fabric. Okay. So to avoid this, the gripper projectile is guided through a ribbed tunnel whose ribs lie between the warp ends during the picking. So during the picking time, as I earlier told that the ribbed type of guides are going to penetrate through the bottom sheet, and it is coming in between the two layers of the warp sheet. Okay, so that the projectile will going to travel in the ribbed type of tunnel or ribbed guides. Okay, so the guide ribs must be as thin as possible. The guide ribs must be as thin as possible, so as not to restrict the warp density. So if the ribbed guides or the guide teeth are very thicker, then to penetrate these ribbed guides through the bottom sheet or warp sheet, so it will restriction. There is a restriction because of more density. What will happen if the yarn density is more? Nothing but the ends per inch is more. Now what will happen? When the guides are penetrating through the warp, so because of high density, if the thickness of these guides are very higher, so there is a restriction or there is a force applied on the yarn by the ribbed guides. Okay, so in that case, what will happen if this is having more thick place and we are going for the higher density? So what will happen? So there may be chances of end breakages or abrasion in between the ribbed guides to the yarn is going to be occur. So because of that, there are so many fabric faults or so many disturbances will occur while weaving is happening. Okay, so that is why the guide teeth should be very thin, as thin as possible. Okay, so they must be rigid enough so that the flying projectile is not braked by the rib oscillations. Okay, and the rib density should be by experience such that the gripper projectile extends across 4 ribs at least, nothing but the support to the projectile minimum, that is 4 ribs. You can observe that the image which is showing at the top side, minimum the 4 ribs are going to be guided to the projectile. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 guides it is going to be guided so that the proper guidance is going to be given to the projectile. So these ribbed guides, we will see what are the different types of ribbed guides are there. You can observe that the 4 guides are minimum 4 guides are supporting the projectile or guiding the projectile to travel in the tunnel of the guides. Okay, so minimum 4 is there. Okay, so proper gripping can be done by using these ribbed tunnels. Okay, then there are different types of, there are majorly 2 types of guide teeth arrangements are there. So there are bottom guide teeth and the top guide teeth. So these arrangements are 2 different types. So one is called as aligned guide teeth. The second one is called as staggered guide teeth. Okay, you can see that the first case, where you can observe that particularly the bottom guide teeth is exact axis of the top guide teeth. So both the top guide teeth as well as the bottom guide teeth which are placed in the same axis, Okay, and if you observe the second one, that is aligned or that is staggered guide teeth. So the staggered means in between the 2 top guide teeth, so the bottom guide teeth are going to be arranged. So the position or the axis of these guide teeth are not aligned. It is staggered in position. So that the more grip or more guidance to the projectile will be there. So if the projectile length is more also, the staggered guide teeth are going to be holded 4 from the top side and the bottom side 5. So from the bottom side 4 and the top side will become 5. So like that, the grip of the projectile is going to be, the guidance to the projectile will be more in case of staggered guide teeth. So these are the 2 different types of guide teeth we are using in projectile weaving. Okay, and let us discuss about the next mechanism, that is slave, that is called as the beat up mechanism. Now, if you remember, in shuttle weaving, what is the bait-up mechanism we are using? We are using a crank bait-up mechanism. We are using a crank bait-up mechanism. But here, we are not having any crank type of mechanism. We are having cam bait-up mechanism. Cam bait-up mechanism. You can observe that, you can understand that, you can see the parts. One is called as the reed. The second part 2 is called as the sleigh. Part 3 is called as the guide teeth, and you can see that the fourth one is called as double cams. There are double cams. So there is a shaft. On the shaft we have double cams. So these double cams are going to be given the motion to the sleigh or to the sleigh sword with the help of the followers. And there are followers to the particular cams, respective cams. We have 2 followers. So, the forward motion and the backward motion of the sleigh is going to be controlled with the help of these 2 cams, 2 balls which are fixed on the sleigh. Okay. So, on the sleigh we have a reed and guide teeth. So, while beat up is happening, what will happen? So, while beat up is happening, you can see that the image particularly where the dotted lines are shown. So, you can observe that while beat up is happening, the sleigh is moving forward, and when the sleigh is moving forward, now what is happening in the picking? So, pick or weft yarn is inserted in the tunnel, in the guide tunnel. So, in between the guide teeth, this weft yarn is there. And as I told earlier, the guide teeth are opened in towards the direction of the reed. So, there is a reed. Guide teeth are opened in the reed direction. So that what will happen when the sleigh is moving forward, so the warp threads are going to push up the weft thread from the teeth, and it will be beaten up. The newly inserted weft yarn is, after coming out from the guide teeth, the newly weft yarn is going to be beaten up towards the fell of the cloth, or pushes towards the fell of the cloth by the help of reed. Okay, you can observe that the guide teeth, when the beat up is happening, the guide teeth are going down below the fell of the cloth, and the reed at the middle top position, it is going to be pushed towards the fell of the cloth or cloth fell. Okay, so this is how the beat up mechanism is going to work in case of projectile weaving. Now let us discuss about the preparation for picking. Now let us discuss about the preparation for picking. What is the meaning is, there is a projectile, we are feeding the weft yarn to the projectile, right? So now in here we are going to discuss about how the weft yarn, how the projectile is going to be lifted from the conveyor chain to the picking position, and how this is going to be opened. What are the mechanism involved in the particular system we are going to see here. Now you can observe here, particularly in the image number 1, you can see that there is a conveyor chain. So 2 and 3, the part number 2 and 3 is called as the conveyor chain. On the conveyor chain we have the projectile is just came from the receiving side. So nothing but there are number of projectiles which are going to be run around the machine. So in the conveyor belt there are several projectiles also. So one of the projectile which is reached to the receiving, which is reached to the picking unit. So the particular projectile will be going to taken by the projectile lifter mechanism. Now what is the function of this projectile lifter is? Projectile lifter mechanism will lift the projectile from the conveyor chain to the picking position. Okay, so below the cloth, below the fell of the cloth and below the weaving machine we have a conveyor chain. So from the receiving side to the picking side, the projectiles are going to be come back. Okay, so projectile, how it is going? Projectile picking is done, receiving unit, it will take the projectile and it will be fall down the projectile after picking. The projectile will going to fall down on the conveyor belt. So fall down nothing but it is going to be taken to the conveyor chain. On the conveyor chain, from the conveyor chain, by using this mechanism, the projectile will come back to the picking position. Okay, again. So now what will happen? There is a projectile lifter which lifts the projectile from the conveyor belt or conveyor chain to the picking position. So along with this, now there is a, you can see that there is a shoe type of mechanism where the projectile is going to be holded, and while it is lifting up, while the projectile is lifting up, so there is a projectile opener. There is a projectile opener. When it is lifting, so projectile is having a small perforation. So there are spring action. Because of that spring, now the grippers are going to open and close. Now the grippers are going to open and close. So now what will happen? Projectile opener, when it is inserted in the perforation of the projectile or hole on the projectile, now the grippers on the projectile is going to be open. When it is going to be open? When the projectile opener is inserted inside the hole of this projectile, so that the projectile grippers are going to be open. Okay. Now your projectile is ready for the taking or holding or to feed the Weftian into the projectile grippers. Now what will happen is, now you can observe that there is a projectile feeder and there is a projectile opener, and projectile is opened now with the help of projectile lifter and projectile opener mechanism. Now projectile grippers are opened. Now with the help of this projectile feeder, now the projectile feeder is going to feed the yarn to the projectile grippers. So into the projectile grippers, the projectile feeder is going to feed the weft yarn. Okay. After feeding it, after the feeding of, in the second diagram you can see that the feeding is done. Now after feeding, what is happening? Now the projectile opener, whatever the projectile opener is there inside the hole, it is going to be released, so that what will happen? The projectile grippers are going to hold the weft yarn. Now in the second case, what is happening? Projectile feeder is fed the weft yarn to the projectile grippers. So the projectile grippers are closed because it is the projectile opener is releasing. Okay. Now the weft yarn is contact in between the projectile opener and the projectile grippers. Okay. Now what will happen is, after the removal, in the third diagram, projectile opener is removed. Now in the fourth diagram you can observe that after feeding to the projectile, now we should have only one contact. When the projectile is going to picking, so the weft yarn has to be released from the projectile feeder. Okay. So now the projectile feeder has to open. Then only the weft yarn is going to be free from the projectile feeder. So there is a mechanism to open the projectile feeder. That is called as projectile feeder opener. Projectile feeder opener. You can observe that the part number 12. That is called as projectile feeder opener. Now projectile feeder opener is going to be activated. Nothing but it comes to the projectile feeder, so that the projectile feeder is going to open. So when it is coming and engaging, projectile feeder is going to open. Now the weft yarn is holded by only the projectile. Okay. It is released from the projectile opener. Okay. After that, the picking will be done. Okay. So after that, the picking will be done. So these are the different steps for the preparation of the picking. Preparation for the picking. So this is how the preparation will be done. How the weft yarn is going to be fed to the projectile and what are the different parts involved in that particular mechanism. Okay. Now we'll go on to the next part, that is called as color change at the thread transfer. So shuttleless looms are having multiple weft color threads also we can use. Nothing but if you want the fabric like so warp is having only one color of threads, for example, and assume it is, and weft threads we required one pick is one color, second pick is second color, third pick is third color. If you want like this also, you can able to manufacture those kind of fabrics in shuttleless looms. compared to shuttle looms, in shuttle looms it is not possible. It is possible, but you cannot get the efficiency if you are changing the multiple colors of weft thread. Multiple colors of weft thread if you are changing frequently, you need to stop the machine and you need to change the shuttle or in the purl. Okay. So here what is happening is we have a mechanism where it can be directly going to change the color if you want. Okay. Now you can see this is the mechanism, color change mechanism. So this color change mechanism is connected to the microprocessor of the your weaving machine. So it is controlled by the microprocessor, nothing but by electronic means it is going to control. So this mechanism is going to control by means of electronics. Okay, now whatever the requirement, if you want 2 picks each color, 4 colors are there, 2 colors if you want each color, 2 picks, you can feed into the system. Now as per the program given to the microprocessor, as per the program given, it is going to be operated or selected particularly. For example, now which one is selected? Second weft color is selected and it is feeding into the projectile. Okay, now there is a feeder, projectile feeder, and back side you can observe that there is a projectile feeder opener. Now the projectile feeder is feeding, second projectile feeder is feeding the weft onto the projectile. Okay, so if you want after 2-3 picks, third color you need to feed into the projectile. So now what will happen? Projectile feeder mechanism which is there, assembly, that particular assembly will rotate one feeder movement it is going to rotate. Okay, now third will come into the point towards the projectile picking mechanism, picking shoe, everything is constant. Only the change is projectile feeder selection. The particular projectile feeder selection mechanism is going to change the path. Now there is a projectile, so there are 4 different colors. Now it is nearer to the 1, 2, 3, third one. Now if you want 4th one, then it will rotate to the 4th one. If you want first one, now the color change mechanism will rotate and it will come to the first one, second one, third one, 4th one. Like this mechanism will be rotating. So the selection will be done by this mechanism. So as per the selected thread, so the particular thread color or thread type is going to be fed to the projectile. So this is how the color change at the thread transfer can be there. So you can observe that the same figure in a simple and black and white manner, which is, you can see that the 4 different colors which are appearing here, and the second one is feeding. And if you want third color, that is yellow color, if you want to feed, you can just move. Nothing but you need not to move. So already if you have given the program, as per the program given, the bevel wheels and the driving mechanism will work and it will come to it towards its exact position, whatever the program we have given. Okay, so this is how the color change will be done in case of projectile mechanism or projectile weaving technology. Okay, up to maximum of like 4 to 7 colors you can go, but if you go on more color weft selections, so the loom efficiency is going to be down, because the selection purpose you require more time, and sometimes what will happen, the breakage is also going to be more. Okay, so that is why the 4 is the best one maximum to transfer or to get the color change in the particular projectile weaving technology. Okay, and you can see that the same one, how the projectile feeders and projectile feeder opener is activating on the projectile feeders. Okay, now particularly when the projectile is arriving, so when the projectile is arriving, nothing but receiving side of the projectile weaving technology. So receiving side, you can observe that there is a projectile arrival point where the projectile braking system and projectile checking will be done. Okay, so when it is reached, there is a projectile opener. It opens the projectile grippers. So you can observe that there are grippers and it will going to open once it is penetrated in the perforation of the projectile, so that the spring action can be done and the projectile feeders or projectile grippers are going to become open, so that the weft thread will be going to free. Now when it is going to be open, after there is a holding point, so there are holders at the edge of the selvage or at the edge of the machine. There are holders, weft thread holders are there. So once it is reached, weft thread holder is going to hold the weft thread. After holding, it is going to be released. Otherwise, what will happen? If there is no holder and you have released the weft thread from the projectile grippers, so the weft thread will not have sufficient tension, so it leads to the slackness in the slacky weft. Okay. So in the fabric formation, so if you loosely beat up done, then what will happen? The wavy or the floats of the weft is going to be appear on the top of the fabric appear. So the appearance of the fabric is going to lost. Nothing but appearance, nothing but fabric quality is going to be lost. That is why there is a weft thread holders. So after holding the thread, then only the projectile is going to be released the weft thread. Okay. So now you can understand that the checking mechanism where exactly. So here generally there are three different sensors are there. When the entry has been done, when the middle point is done and the exit time, there are three sensors. So it sends the projectile position. It sends the projectile position so that once it is reached exactly, it has to open the projectile, right? So that is why there should be a checking mechanism whether it has been perfectly received into the receiving unit or not. Okay. After that, the projectile brake is applied and the projectile grippers are going to be opened so that the weft yarn is going to be released. After that, what will happen? The projectile, after the arriving, I told that there is a grippers and the projectile is going to be opened. So after opening, the projectile is going to be transferred into the conveyor chain. So now here you can see that the transfer on the conveyor. Now once it is released the weft yarn, the projectile is going to be sent to the conveyor belt. You can see that the bottom side there is a conveyor chain. So the projectile, you can observe that the projectile is there and it is slowly dropping down on the conveyor chain. So now after dropping down the conveyor projectile on the conveyor belt, so now the projectile is going to be transferred from the receiving side to the picking side. Now you can see here, so which is the picking side, where particularly if you see that there is a torsion bar mechanism. So here this is the picking side. Now this is the receiving side where the projectiles are going to be received. So after receiving, the projectile is going to be transferred on the conveyor belt or conveyor chain. Slowly the conveyor chain is going to move towards the picking side so that the projectiles will going to transfer from the receiving side to the picking side. So the projectile circulation, how it is going to be happen in this mechanism, particularly in the projectile weaving machine we are discussing. Okay, so this is how it is going to be done. There is a conveyor chain which is located at the bottom side of the picking system and the fell of the cloth or the slave sword, so that the projectile, once it is reaches to the receiving side, it will be going to be taken down on the conveyor belt and then the projectile will be transferred with the help of conveyor type of mechanism. The projectile transfer can be occurred with the help of conveyor belt or conveyor chain. Okay. Now after that, so after the pick is inserted, so now the projectile is transferred. So after that, what will happen? The edges of the pick, both the sides of the edge, both the sides of the weft yarn, so the fringe like 1 centimeter or 1 centimeter of the weft thread is projected outside to the selvage. From the selvage, it is projected outside. That is called as the fringe. Okay. Now what will happen? So with the help of tucking in mechanism, so there is a selvage type that is tucked in a selvage type. Now there is a tucking in pin. You can observe that figure number 1. So there is a 32 number. So that is called as the tucked in pin. Now what will happen after the weft yarn is holded by the weft thread holder? Now the projectile, this whatever the tucked in pin is there, the tucked in pin is going to hold the edge of the weft thread, and whenever the next shed is opened, so it will be going to fold it into the next shed. So now in one shed picking is done. Now after that the second shed is opening. Okay. So when the second shed is opened, this tucked in pin, what it will do? It will going to tuck, or it will going to fold the edge of the weft thread, that is whatever projected edge is there, fringe 1.5 centimeter of the weft thread, it is going to be folded into the next shed, so that completely closed type of selvage is going to be formed. Okay. Now we will watch a small video on how this tucked in selvage is going to be formed. We will see a small video so that you can understand better. Okay. So let us look out the tucked in selvage. I think you people are aware of this tucked in selvage, and you understood that what is exactly the tucked in selvage process. Okay. Now, so approximately the width of the tucked selvage can be like from 18 mm to 25 mm, that is 1.8 centimeter to 2.5 centimeter, even 30.35 mm also there. So that is depends upon the type of fabric and the application of the fabric, end use of the fabric. Okay. So accurate weft length measurement ensures that there are no yarn wastage. So because these yarns are going to be folded even, so if you maintain the accurate weft pick length, so there is no weft wastage, as well as this is going to be tucked in, so there is no weft wastage as concern with as per the tucked in selvage concern. Okay. And instead of tucking unit, the P7300HP, that is the model number of the projectile weaving machine, can be equipped with the Leno type of selvages also. Okay. So now that is depends upon the machine and the application. Like Leno type of selvage also can be used. We will see that what are the different types of selvages in shuttleless weaving technology. Okay. So Leno type of selvage also can be used in the case of projectile weaving also. Okay. And in case of Leno selvages, selvage saver eliminates, and these particularly there is a elimination of the selvage, and you can see that particularly here the tucked in unit which is shown in particularly tucking in needle, that is part number 2. You can observe that there is a needle and which is going to be taken the fringe of the weft thread into the next opened shed. Okay. So that is how it is going to be occurred, and you can observe that the selvage position, the density of the fabric, particularly you can observe that the selvage position, so selvage place, the density of the fabric is becoming double, because in the next shed, in one shed, particularly in the selvage place, you can observe that double weft threads are there because of this folding. Okay. So the density at selvages, particularly to the in the case of tucked in selvages, so the density becomes double in case of tucked in selvage. And body, you can observe that normal thing is there. Okay. And this is the whole machine of Sulzer projectile. Okay. Then the projectile weaving have been used to produce the countless technical textiles, nothing but there are so many applications are there, from the finest filter fabrics to the densely woven and tear resistant special fabrics for balloons, and even ultra heavy coating fabrics also can be manufactured by using this Sulzer projectile. And denim fabrics are produced worldwide with great success on the projectile weaving machines. Okay. So these are the few applications, particularly what are the different types of fabric qualities we can able to manufacture using the projectile weaving technology I have given here. So particularly this section we have discussed about the picking phases and the different parts, various parts and their functions and the working of individual parts we have discussed particular to the projectile weaving. Okay, so next session we will discuss about the rapier weaving technology. Okay, so this is all about the projectile weaving. Okay, so till the next session, thanks for listening. Bye.